Okay, so while I'm not doing all donation decks anymore, I am still taking a small number of donation decks for a slightly larger donation. So for 50 USD, I will play a deck of your choosing on stream for an hour to 2 hours, depending on how good it's going and how fun it is. With the higher price tag, you also get to dictate when that deck gets played as opposed to it just going in the queue. So there's a little bit more flexibility with that. Obviously, it's always going to end up on YouTube as well. YouTube in the future. We have a Paradoxical Outcome Storm deck here. So return any number of non-land permanents you control to their owner's hand, non-token non-land permanents. Draw a card for each card returned this way. And then Inspiring Statuary was a card that was finally added in the most recent Historic Anthology. Non-artifact spells you control have improvised, which means you can tap your artifacts to help cast them. So the basic idea with this deck is you play a bunch of 0 and cheap artifacts down here, and then you Paradoxical Outcome, pick a bunch of them up, and draw a bunch of cards. You replay them back out, triggering Master Thopterist, or generating Storm Count with Aetherflux Reservoir to eventually gain enough life and blast your opponent. We also have things like Baral's expertise that lets us pick up things and then like put Reservoir into play and generate Storm Count. We've got Emery to grind a little bit. And then post board, we kind of have this cute pivot plan where we've got Karn, Negate, Metallic Rebuke, and Glint Nest Crane in our sideboard to pivot a little bit. Is Flood of Tears better than Baral's expertise? That costs 6, right? If you return 4 or more non-token permanents you control this way. Yeah, this not giving you control over what you're bouncing can be bad with something like Master Thopterist, and costing 1 more mana is a big deal. So it's definitely just different. I wouldn't call it strictly better or strictly worse, but I think on average it's probably going to be worse for us than Baral's expertise. Haha, nice, Suna. Glad to have you playing on Sunday. Had a bunch of signups today. We had 51 players yesterday morning pre-reg. We're up to 64 now. Sweet. The lack of paid sick leave in the United States, BNZ, is one of the many awful things about the way our economy is structured. How do you sign up for Hoots? You just head on over to the MTG Melee link here and get signed up. For people that are new and signing up for that tournament, please make sure you read all of the details in... Make sure you read all of the details in the description. So it is required that if you are playing in the Hooglandia tournament, that you are in the subscriber Discord server and that you are able to screen share your arena upon request. Failure to screen share your arena screen upon request will result in you being dropped from the tournament regardless of your current record. We want to hold on to this for post-Psy next turn. You okay with ultra-wide monitors? Yeah, whatever resolution you can share in is fine. There's some awkwardness with how it scales at different resolutions, but I don't fault people for that. Well, glass half full, they didn't find a Thoughtseize. Drew a land here, so we get to Psy into Tormod's Crypt. Crypt's actually a really good draw here, right? Really good actual card. We get to do this, and we get to clear their graveyard out here. Which means they can't Croxam me next turn. Hey, awesome, Chase. Glad to have you. Go ahead and say goodbye. Goodbye, graveyard friends. Bye, graveyard friends. I loved this card when it was in Standard. I played this card in Standard in a Bant Tamiyo deck, so you'd like Baral's Expertise, bounce 3 of their things on turn 5, put Tamiyo into play, tap 2 of their other things for a turn, and then like get 2 decent attacks in. I'm really looking forward to Bant Tamiyo being added to this format. Her design is super sweet. I like her a lot. That being said, Expertise looking super awkward on this board, huh? I think it's Tamiyo Field Researcher is Bant Tamiyo, if I recall correctly. Well, we waited 1 turn. Because if I drew a land naturally, we could have drawn 2 cards, but now I'm just like, sad trombone can't trip this. So, if you look at the total land count in this deck, I don't think you can cut Renegade Map, because this deck basically plays Renegade Map as... This deck's effectively playing Renegade Map as a land. The way it works out. I think I'm just double unsummoning here. I think so. 17 months. Ace, as a heads up for pure transparency's sake, I understand if you unsub if I'm not making the content that you enjoy personally. I do not intend to poke back into Runeterra until their next major balance patch. And even then, if they don't correct their game being a bunch of combo decks without sideboards, I don't know that I'm going to intend to poke back in. Like, at a minimum, I think Runeterra needs to readjust how the Watcher works and how the Ledros combo works for me to be willing to play again. Both those designs are just incredibly unsatisfying to play against, in my opinion. Okay, so we get to play a Mox, and we get to play an Ornithopter, and then we get to Baral's Expertise, bounce these, Paradoxical Outcome, draw 2 cards, jump through some hoops for a Divination. They have a Fatal Push they can deny us a card draw here. Feels like they might. That's true. If we draw a land, we do get to cast 7-mana Divination. Yeah, this is the trouble. This game's really highlighting the struggle that this kind of archetype has against these very heavily interactive decks. Where like you get kind of picked apart and you're relying on synergies, and then like what you're left with is a lot of individually weak cards. What does PO stand for? Paradoxical Outcome. This card. I forgot to attack. Whatever. I'm not gonna win by nickel and diming them with this. I've always been a Moto player and enjoyed it. I put $50 into Arena and got a deck, and now I have a hard time playing Moto. Yeah, I mean, I've said this a lot on stream, Silly Cheese. My problem going back to playing Magic Online after playing Arena isn't even the graphics and the sound. It's just the rate of play. The lack of auto-tapper and the rigid priority system that Magic Online uses means that the play is just glacial. So they claimed our 1/1 so they can use D-Spark to do whatever this card's called, Spark Harvest. Yeah, Arena basically automates all of the things that you would shortcut through in paper. Is a good way to put it. Yeah, someone asked what the Watcher does in Runeterra. Basically, the Watcher is a 0-mana combo card that you can't counterspell units in Runeterra, and when it attacks, it exiles your deck. It's just real obnoxious. Moto should implement a 2-minute shuffle so it feels more like paper. Just every time you gotta shuffle your deck, it's just like minus 60 seconds off your clock. Good afternoon, Cactux. Yeah, maybe when you click shuffle on Magic Online, it should ask you if you want to pile shuffle or pack. What's pack shuffling? It's when you shuffle them on the side using the corner. It seems hard to get into play. It's actually trivially easy, Jin, because they pair it with Trundle and Ice Pillars. And Lysandra makes a Frozen Thrall thing that makes it so she generates an 8/8 over time. There's also another 8-drop that cheats something into play as a spectral copy, so they'll frequently play that and then put 2 Watchers into play at the same time, so you can't stun or remove one to prevent your deck from getting exiled. Yeah, Revitalizing Roar. I don't understand why they made the blue mythic land so much worse than all the other mythic lands. Because blue-white control is already a pit stain to play against, and I really don't want to play against it in a world where they have a playable bolt card here. We have died. You could have cast Mox to not bolt yourself for that play, right? I'd encourage you to read Mox Amber. Oh, I had the Scion play. Are you right? Oh, I would have drawn one less card. This card draws cards based on the number of cards in your hand. So if I played the Mox, I would have saved 3 life, but I would have been paying to literally I would have been paying 7 to draw 1 card, which really wouldn't have been good. Hey, box of shoes. Thank you for the 19 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I played the land to bolt it in. Is that right? Yeah, you're right. You're right. It doesn't matter. We were dead, chat. You're correct. You got it. I made the strictly an optimal play and it did not matter. I think we're supposed to put in kind of mid-rangey cards here, I guess. I guess. Honestly, there's probably a good argument that this deck should just have Cage in the main with how good Cage is in this format. I know we have Tormod Crypts in the main because they're a 0 mana card, but Cage is probably a reasonable inclusion as well, just because it's so good. 3/3 Baral's expertise might be overkill. Cage tags are Emery. I guess. Is Emery actually good here? Honestly, with how often Emery's just going to die and how slow Emery is, I wonder if we're better off playing Cages and Glint Hawks in the main. I feel like against the linear decks this is slow, and against the interactive decks it just dies quite frequently. Arcanist Owl is slow and difficult to cast. Glint Hawk being a 2-drop is really good. Again, holding on to these Tormod scripts for post Scion Master Thopterist, so we can make some tokens with them ideally. Veil of Summer is such an offensive card. I'd forgotten that card was still legal in Modern. I saw a tweet come across my timeline of someone complaining about Veil of Summer being legal in Modern, and I was just like, oh, you sweet summer child. Format just has all the obnoxious designs still in it. Vidalcan Archmage is straight fire. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the 4 mana O2 is probably not great. I would assume that the 4 mana O2 is really good when your opponent doesn't do anything and they ignore you, and like you're goldfishing again. When you're goldfishing against Sparky, it probably looks really good. I had someone comment on one of my YouTube videos the other day that they were impressed that I play combo decks in Historic in best of 3. Apparently most content creators cheesing people in Historic are Magic Zoomers trying to punk people out in best of 1. Listen, chat. I cut my teeth playing combo decks, driving uphill in the snow both ways to paper Magic tournaments, okay? You're gonna play a combo deck, you're gonna learn to sideboard, you're gonna play through the hate. Those sideboard list heathens. Listen, just for the record to reflect, you should play Magic however you enjoy playing Magic, okay? If you enjoy best of one, more power to you. It's not for me personally. But it is definitely the case that it is objectively easier to play combo style decks like this in best of one, because the types of cards that are ideal against decks like this are sideboard cards. And most people that are playing best of 3 understand how to approach sideboards for random combo decks, and they're gonna make your life harder. Alright, so we get to Inspiring here, and then we get to draw 2 cards with Paradoxical Outcome. Actually, do I bounce this back to my hand just to draw another card here? Is that crazy? I feel like that's not crazy. If I hit, like, exactly a Mox, I'm a little bit sad, but, like, if I don't bounce it, I'm only drawing 2 cards anyways. If they attack with Arcanist, we're gonna crypt their graveyard so that way they can't Thoughtseize us. Getting rid of Crocs also has value. I don't have to crypt proactively though, because I only have 3 cards in there. Honestly, this side's doing a great job of gumming up the board here, so like, we've got time to fumble around a little bit, and maybe even cast the Seagate Restoration. And then we're just gonna stack block all of these tokens on here. That way if they have a removal spell, they can't save it. That's true too. We could just start poking them with Thopterist next turn. It's definitely the case. Speaking of looters, oh wait, if I would have Inspiring, no, okay, we'll be able to do this next turn though, which is nice. I need an extra blue to be able to cast this. Do I hold this in order to draw more cards with this? I don't think so. I think we're just playing this as a bad divination again. So I think I want to be killing them in the air here. I like the Karn Glinthawk plan in this sideboard. I think that's a sweet, like, fair deck pivot plan. No, I couldn't have Seagated, right? Because I needed to play Inspiring Sanctuary for 3 mana. So I would have had to tap an island. Maybe I'm supposed to draw a card with Sai there in response. I don't know, my tokens all seem pretty valuable. So they're out of cards. We just put them to 2 and we crypt these 2 Dorkos so they can't drain us for 3. Oh, you know what? Using this crypt like this is bad because if they draw Fatal Push, they can push, snap push, and then gain 3, but that's not lethal and I still kill them on the backswing, right? So we're fine. I think they're just dead to our Thopter shop here. It's unfortunately they seem to be adding cards to Arena in reverse chronological order, but one card I'm really looking forward to being in this format, not because it's good, but because I'd like to play games with it, is Thopter Spy Network is a really gas card. I have sentimental attachments to that one. Alright, attack you for 6 in the air. Yeah, I love Spy Network too. It's a gas card. Do this. Get him into that. Okay, I think I'm gonna try no Emery's, Cages, and Glinthawk's main after this. I like that idea. No message, just dragging. One of the OGs with the first icon to prove it. Thank you for the 62 months, Cruise again. It's kind of wild to think I've been doing this for that long. It's been a ride. Thanks for coming along for all of it. Pioneer Masters. So, is Pioneer Masters still on the Arena roadmap? Last I heard, Pioneer Masters had been shelved in favor of remastered sets. That I was out of Magic for a little bit. Did we get an update and we're getting Pioneer Masters? Because originally we were supposed to get AHK remastered and then Pioneer Masters. Well, they don't have an official roadmap, but they had these things are like in development versus these things are like coming up soon. You forgot Pioneer as a format? So did Wizards for a little while. It's okay. Yeah, but they moved it back, Saucer. Originally, Pioneer Map. So, what my speculation is, I would bet Amonkhet Remastered was so popular from a limited perspective, they had so many people drafting it, that they realized they would rather do lots of individual block remaster sets because it's more profitable. Yeah, it's in concept. I wouldn't be surprised if that changes. Based on the feedback on the drafting. Yeah, I bet both for people who like limited, I heard that both AHK and the other were wildly popular from that perspective. Do I play the Crypt tier? I'm gonna hold it for after Sai. So, blocks are kind of returning in the fall. We're getting 2 Innistrad sets in September and November. It's basically a block. Yeah, I mean, you're not alone, Vantrix. There's a ton of people that love limited. Magic's limited formats are very popular. And like, honestly, from a player perspective, it seems like a win-win if they're gonna get more limited formats and I'm gonna get more cards. So like, I don't really have a super vested interest in like a Pioneer Masters versus not. Okay, so I'm gonna put a stop after this thing. Oh, you know what? Nah, if they have a breed, that's fine, right? If they're breeding this, I have another one. I just want to make sure after this trigger happens, before their main phase, I can exile their graveyard. We're getting new sets every other month. If you're trying to keep up with Pioneer, yeah, you're basically going to be getting new cards every 6 to 8 weeks with Historic, as they back end cards to Historic. Being a completionist in Historic will not be cheap. You are much better off just finding a deck or 2 or 3 that you like in Historic and focusing on those, rather than trying to own everything. They should add slivers to Arena. Completely agree, Vantrix. Historic anthologies should be full of casual fan favorites like slivers that people love to play. I think a historic anthology slivers would be a wildly popular thing. Those are, in my opinion, the exact types of things historic anthologies should contain. I'm not attacking here because I don't want them to be able to attack with Dreadhorde Arcanist for free. So if they wanna attack with Dreadhorde Arcanist and Flashback Village Rights on a token, I want to be able to triple block or quad block the Dreadhorde Arcanist. I mean, we already have custom cube formats on Arena, and we will definitely be getting more of them. Cube is wildly popular. All right, here's a real question. I want to draw with Sai here. Am I sacrificing? Do I just draw 2 here? I think I just draw 2. I'm gonna start here because if I draw PO. Yeah, four-player formats are never coming to Magic Arena. I would put money on more than 2 players playing at a time is not coming. The amount of technical hurdles you have to jump through for that to be a possibility is just too high. If you remove Emery from the deck, you only have 4-side activate Mox Amber. Do you think that's enough to still justify playing them? Yeah, we're literally playing Tormod's Crypt because we just want 0-mana artifacts. Are there any other legendary cards worth playing? Can I just play Fibblethip? Is that allowed? Wait, there's only 3 Mox in here? That can't be right. Fibblethip is our king, so yes. Fibblethip isn't great with Paradoxical Outcome, sure, but I'm not Paradoxical Outcoming Emery either. I'm not saying let's add Fibblethip to PO. I'm saying add Fibblethip to enable Mox Amber. J-Dub, you're here, I assume. Do you actually commit to memory consistently? I feel like this is too many clunky top-end cards here, and I want to trim like 2 copies among these. You think it's better to keep all the expertise, or should I keep the commits? I like the Saheeli suggestion. What if we try something like this? Let's move cages into the main, because cage is absurd in this format. This is basically more size. I agree that more of this effect is good. One of the things that's nice about Saheeli as well is that you can have Saheeli and Psy in play simultaneously, which is really great. So like your 0 and cheap artifacts can be making multiple things per cast. She doesn't come up in a lot of searches, right? Because she's like a blue card. She's like mono red and mono blue. Remember the Saheeli 4-mana Karn decks we used to play in Standard? We should try and building something like that again at some point. Does Royal Scions have a decent shell in Historic? No, not really. Planeswalkers that don't impact the board are kind of slow and fair. Is this the first deck of the day? No, O'Hare. We've been live for over 4 hours. You can always type exclamation point uptime in chat, or it's available on the overlay as well. Mystic Sanctuary seems hard to enable while I'm playing the Scrylands. Yeah, Flood of Tears bouncing your size and stuff are really bad. And this is like these Baral's expertises and like the other expensive cards at the top end. Like, imagine if these were like chromatic spheres or something cheap we could play to the board. D20. Well, I assume the opponent's gonna attack with this and draw 4 cards here. Will and Go, thanks for the follow. Good afternoon. Okay, so we get to do this, and then we get to do this, and we get to Paradoxical Outcome. Okay. Well, Stream Decker and Cardboard Live aren't direct competitors, Dr. Mr. Putty. So Cardboard Live does the mouse overlay. I guess it also does deck uploads, but Stream Decker doesn't do automatic uploads is the issue. Well, I cut the Emrys, and I don't know that I would necessarily regret doing that. I agree that Chromatic Sphere might be good. Emry does not seem particularly good. She seems really slow and clunky, and dies frequently. I think, speaking of dying frequently, okay, so we get to Baral's expertise. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I probably should have tapped the Crypt in the Sanctuary, huh? Yeah, I should have 2 of these untapped here and tapped these 2. Expertise looking impressive here as a way to get Aetherflux Reservoir into play while using Inspiring Statuary to improvise. Am I dead because of the way I tapped? I think I'm dead because of the way I tapped. I'm not gonna have enough chump blockers here with their stuff. I have to block with Psy because of my mistake. Yeah, I have to block with Psy, otherwise I exactly die. Okay, so let's start here. This is only non-artifact spells have been provided, right? So we can use her target artifact you control becomes another copy of target artifact you control becomes a copy of another artifact or creature you control. Yeah, so we target this. So we have a second Aetherflux Reservoir.
Do I have your attention now?
And then we Prophetic Prism here. Yeah, Saheeli's a good addition to this deck. I have not played a land for the turn, so I could Renegade Map for a land. And now we can Baral's Expertise, pick up Mox Amber, this, and a Tormod's Crypt. Yeah, they're dead, right? Cast you? Yeah, they're dead. Sick. We probably want more than 2 Saheelis. We probably want more than 2 Saheelis. I also want more Baral. I'm gonna put the third Baral's Expertise back in. That was great. That was a great kill. Yeah, that was great. I think we're gonna cut this card. This card is clunky. We can get rid of these, and we can get a third Saheeli and another Baral. And honestly, we probably just want 4 Mox Ambers. You can sacrifice redundant Ambers to size. You just like want all the copies of this card possible. All right, so that was the thing, chat. This is a do the thing deck, and that was the thing. All right, so my opponent's making a bunch of tokens and stuff, so River's Rebuke sounds great. Do I want Glintnest Crane as a blocker? Doesn't seem terrible. Hey, thank you for the submission, J-Dubs. The score is sweet. It's pretty scary. I feel like I might want one more land, too. Hey, thanks for the Prime Mail. I appreciate that. JK, LOL. That's gotta go on the bottom, right? I guess I have Statuary. Am I gonna survive to get there, though? I need lands. I have River's Rebuke already, too, right? I think I'm waiting on this because I want a second token with Saheeli next turn. Six mana Ugin's good because of his passive. I can see that. it doesn't, I don't think it really makes sense in place of Baral's. Baral's is serving kind of a different purpose in that it, Baral serves kind of a different purpose in that it like gives us cards to redraw. It like serves as like additional POs in a way. But I could see like some Ugins in the sideboard as part of our mid-range pivot plan. That seems very reasonable. This having trample is terrifying. We're probably dead here. With the statuary down. Pretty far off of casting this now, missing land drops. Alright, not gonna weasel our way out of this one. Trample is cheating. Yeah, trample. So part of the reason why this deck can be competitive is because you it can be competitive because you get chump blockers like we do. So trample is very, very good against our stay alive plan. This card's actually, someone mentioned they didn't really like this card, but I actually really disagree with that. This card being improvisable seems really great, actually. I like, this is honestly, this is probably the best Seagate restoration deck I've played. We have four Seagates. But hold on to these because we could draw a side. Honestly, J-Dubs, if we go up a Mox and we go up a Mox and we go up and we try and fit in some chromatic spheres, we might be okay. So we'll see. I'm gonna crack the deck editor open here after this one and take a look at some ideas. Duck Doolittle, thank you for the 11 months. Welcome back. Meme them to death. What's going on, Zuax? Cardboard Live is sadly still missing HA4. It's real annoying. Yep. This card being a 1/4 is also a really great stat line. We're taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 here.
my victory.
Wait. Oh my god, I just clicked no targets. God damn it. I thought I was clicking, in my head, I was clicking, this is how I want to pay. That's fine. That's fine. Honestly, I might bounce Sai here too. No, I'm gonna bounce Saheeli. I think I need to draw 3 cards. Do I want to hit a Mox? So, if I had not foobarred the interface here, these 3 tokens would be gone right now, and my opponent would only have this, this, and these. But I flubbed the interface. That's a great draw.
If it's a challenge you want, then a challenge you'll get.
Okay. We take those. We take those. Alligator, thanks for the 2 minutes. Welcome back. Alright. Commit to memory doesn't seem great. I want Saheeli. I want a Mox Amber. How many lands are in here? We're at 15, 19, 23, kind of. That's probably fine. Is it fine though? Expertise was kind of impressive. And if I don't have those main, and we like got Mox is a land. This feels like a lot of counterspells. Yeah, Mox can be like your 4th land in the right situation. I like the suggestion of some 6-mana Ugins. I think I like them as part of the board plan, though. Maybe this board plan is just better than this Glintness Crane. Like, against mid-range decks, we have a hard time comboing, so, like, playing on these cards that, like, kind of do what we want them to do is nice. Let's try this. This deck's neat though. It's got sweet things going on. Renegade Map is not a land in that first hand. It is a land in a hand like this, though. Golden Egg. So the problem with Golden Egg is that two mana cards have a real risk because they're not as free. Nearly as free. Thought sees my. Is this mono blue storm? Well, actually, you see, Saheeli is technically a red card, so we are not mono blue, chat. Don't censor me, 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 don't censor me. Hello, thanks for the follow. Good afternoon. Alright, well the good news is we're gonna get to try out the Karns and Ugins of the sideboard. B-Daff, good afternoon. That's the good news. Are we 0% here? Feels like we're 0% here. Opponent playing Esper Control and at 70%. Sounds about right. 78%. Alright, let's cut our big clunky cards. Bring in some counter spells. We're basically looking to just like turn into kind of a more mid-rangey deck post-board where we're like using PO for value. Oh, these cards being fully improvisable off of Statuary are kind of sweet. Buzz and Buzz, thank you for the 9 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I guess I have too many cards in my fair sideboard plan now. Maybe these Glintnest Cranes are unnecessary and these could be something else for aggro. Seems reasonable. Theonet, good afternoon. If you're new to the channel, like one of the people that just followed, welcome. My name is Jeff Hoagland. I stream full-time here on Twitch. Magic is the primary game that I stream these days. I'll also do some single-player story-driven stuff like we're going to wrap up on Ratchet and Clank on the PS5 this afternoon, as well as some other turn-based stuff like other card games like Mythgard and occasionally Legends of Runeterra when their format's worth playing. Oh, this hand doesn't have a second land in it, does it? This is technically not a second land. Yeah, we're pretty close to the end of Ratchet and Clank. I think I might try and run long and finish it today. If Christy doesn't need me. Golden Egg is just a better version of Prophetic Prism. I mean, that's just not correct because like we quite literally use Prophetic Prism to filter colors of mana already in this set. But good try, Twitch chat, and trying to make strictly better, strictly worse comparisons between things that are not just strictly better or strictly worse. Remove just better and just worse from your vocabulary, chat. situationally better, often better, generally better. These are words you could use that are good and accurate. All right, these glint nests, it feels like with these counter spells and this, I have what? This is 3, like 9 cards for there. I could probably just get the full 4 cages for the what's it called decks? Honestly, even 9 cards might be too many for the fair plan. If we do that, then we put a couple of Gust in the sideboard for the various green-red decks, like Goblins. We're probably happy to see this card. Scry me a river, baby. I think I'm keeping the lands here, actually. Alright, so we'll go tapped land next turn, into PO, draw 3 the following turn. So the easy question you have to, well, not even easy, but the question you have to ask yourself for Food versus Prism is how often do you think you're going to win the game? How often do you think you're going to win the game because you fixed your mana versus how often do you think you're going to win the game because you paid at 3 mana to gain, or 2 mana to gain an extra 3 life? And it's not really a super straightforward question to answer. Well, Prism can't filter, You also, if you give up Prism, you probably need to give up some of your colorless lands, which is a very real cost. For people that are asking about deck list, Cardboard Live does not have HA4 cards in it. If you're looking for HA4 cards, you'll have to grab the deck list off my YouTube video after the fact. It'll have the correct deck list there. Oh, it's an extra turns card, not a counterspell. God bless. HA4, Historic Anthology 4. It was the recent card release that added more cards to Historic. Every time new cards are added to the format, the Cardboard Live application needs to be updated, and they're often pretty slow about it, unfortunately. It's a third-party application that we have no control over. Ideally, Wizards would just support something like that first party. We're actually just not going to get a turn again, and we're dead to 4x Eldrin's Epiphany. Ooh. You could tell me any card was in the historic card pool and I'd probably believe you. Big mood. I mean, to be fair, Aldrin's Epiphany was much better than Nexus of Fate would be here. Nexus of Fate, my opponent wouldn't have had a bunch of birds. I actually think there's a strong argument to be made that this is the second best extra turn spell ever printed behind Nexus of Fate. Yeah, excluding the Power Knight check. Come on, stop it. Damn it, Twitch chat. Yeah, I agree. A big agree, Shark and Big. Alright, so we're dead to Stomp. They're just like playing Teamer Adventures with Time Walks, looks like. Dead to Stomp, dead to another Brazen Borrower. Dead to another Time Walk. What an incredibly satisfying and interesting game of Magic. I want my negates. I only want 2 of them. Triple Time Walk, adding 2 power every time they did it. It was quite rough. Were those all standard legal cards? They had non-standard legal lands, but yeah, all their spells were standard legal. Standard's a very high power level right now. So, like, your standard decks with better mana are likely competitive in Historic. Just craft some shock lands and go to town. I mean, I don't know that I'd say Standard's in a great spot. It's fine. I think Kaldheim and the more recent sets are in a great spot. Kaldheim and the Zendikar set or whatever it's called before Kaldheim, but Throne is a little bit too pushed, I think, in terms of power level. I think Standard would be better. Yeah, Zendikar Rising. Standard would be better off if some of the adventure cards were removed from it for sure. That set, we've banned like 6 cards from Eldraine, and like Eldraine is still the most busted thing in the format, and it's not close. They missed the mark on in terms of power level there a little bit. Ideally, especially with PO and Statuary, if you could avoid cracking this for a land, you want to. Obviously, if we're going to miss our 3rd land drop next turn, I'm going to go get it with the map, but if we just spike the lands naturally like this, we're going to leave this in play. Dispute me, Daddy. Yeah, not only does Eldraine rotate this fall, but we found out today that they're releasing the fall set earlier than they normally do. So Eldraine will be rotating September 17th, I believe was the date. But it'll be end of September instead of end of October, which is great. Get rid of that crap a month sooner. Haba Hot, thank you for the interior support. Let's get your sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Declan's gonna leave you alone. Steal some of my water like I know the actual reason you came in here, and then you can go hang out. If Declan's being annoying, go upstairs. He won't get you there. Okay, so we do this, and then I think I'm cracking this in order to Sai this turn. Leave your brother alone, dude. I know that's a tall order, but your Minecraft cartridge isn't in here. If you're looking for it, ask Mom to check the shelf above the TV by the switch up there. I think Ikoria is a great set. I think the things that were awkward about Ikoria are largely related to the fact that companions were such a disaster. In my opinion. Yeah, mutate was a sweet mechanic. Alright, chat, we're cooking with gas. We're cooking with gas. I think I want to hold up the gate this turn, right? I don't want to play this Prophetic Prism. Alright, your move, Yugi boy. This is all I got. Alright, cast a 7 mana card that gets negated. My standing desk is an uplift desk, and I would highly recommend buying literally anything else. Standing. Uplift is the cheapest standing desk you'll find on the market, and they're the cheapest for a reason.
Together, we'll create great things, you and I.
Yeah, the electronics in my desk are foobarred. Not enough for me to spend $1,000 replacing it, but enough to be annoying, and that when it eventually breaks, yeah, their customer service when I tried to interact with them wasn't good. No, come back, opponent. I wasn't done drawing cards yet. Anarch Maxi, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Maybe their more expensive models are better, Arano. I was hoping for better than mixed reviews. Yeah, I don't know. I have literally their lowest end model and their lowest end model. I didn't have a lot of money when we bought this first. So it was when I was first starting out doing content. We were still saving, paying off some bills and stuff, and yeah. So other people have had good luck. I have not. And I guess it's also fair to say my model is old at this point, so maybe their newer ones are better. I know when the electronics of this would eventually fully die, though. I intend to get a different brand. It's closer to 3 at this point, Tumos. And I guess, to be fair, it hasn't fully broken in the time that I've had it. Just play Sai here. Actually, it could be right to lead on Saheeli, because Saheeli only improvises 1, whereas this can improvise for 2. Didn't matter, getting bounced. Our Seagate restorations look a little awkward here. Maybe 3 of these is right. We want 1 more basic. Drawing multiples like this feels real bad. The final deck list, J-Dubs, will be in the YouTube video description this evening. Whatever we end on will end up there. I guess playing this is kind of loose if they have another Stomp, which is likely. I definitely play 4 Bone Crusher Giants. I can, like, Stomp her and then hit her. I guess she's a gain 6 that way, though. Yeah, don't touch that dial. The random audio cutting in and out is not on my end or Twitch's end. It's Magic Arena being a wonderful, wonderful piece of quality software that it is. Arena's a lot like my standing desk in a way. It has a lot of very obvious issues, but it is mostly functional. Supposed to have held the Negate up here to try and fight over this. And it goes down daily. I think I'm just passing here. I'm gonna wait on the Crypt till post-Sci so I can get 2 counters with it. Because the flying token with this will be valuable against the Brazen Borrower. And then hopefully they just go land Time Walk here and we get to negate them. Gonna dodge Mystic Dispute. Hopefully they just got a Scry here is what they're getting priority for. I think I'm just playing this tapped at this point and passing. Land Dispute Time Walk is their absolute best case scenario. This one might be getting cast as a spell on the line here. Oh, Ember Cleave. Yeah, I'm not really expecting Cleave out of them, but I suppose you're right that Cleave is pretty good here. Is this a land? I feel like it's not. I think I'm just passing. I think this is a spell. They did double bottom there, which is nice. I gotta fight over this. Had to unenroll from Hoot, stupid real life interfering. Also, I had too much caffeine today, and I figured I should try and burn some energy by cheering randomly great content. There'll always be another one, Boston. Our next one's gonna be standard on the 17th. I appreciate the bits. With our win condition, draw them in 1/1s. We have Aetherflux Reservoir in our deck. Yeah, theoretically.
Be wary of the ground you walk on.
If they attack with this island, I'm triple blocking it. How do I feel about triple blocking both? I'm kind of into it. That was probably one of the better draws in our deck. If they don't have a negate here, this is truly absurd. Not only does this let us draw an extra card here, but it lets us play around Dispute. This Ketria Triumph taps for 2 because there's an Ascend play. It is a forest. Filter resolves. Man, Saheeli looks good here. I think I'm only playing one map here because I want to be able to sacrifice 4 things to draw 2 cards next turn.
Do not underestimate my fortitude.
This draws them counter spells too, which is scary. Alright, well, they drew 3. They drew 3 non-permanents.
Harness the elements.
Drawing 1 to try and hit a negate's probably smart. Yeah. I'm pretty sure we're YOLOing the Seagate Restoration here, right? They have Negate or Dispute or whatever. We're not going to be able to play around it anytime soon anyways. Might as well just jam. And then, if this doesn't work, we just get to flood the board with more tokens here. Excuse me? So we can use Saheeli to net a mana here with her minus by turning this into another Mox. Which means I can then play Inspiring Statuary and then play this Mox out after in Paradoxical Outcome.
Some lessons for you all.
Yeah, they could have a counterspell and be holding it for something bigger. I elected not to. They could have like an Abrade here. I elected not to target one of these to make it a Mox and instead give up my what's it called, because I didn't want to lose my Saheeli activation to a Stomp. Do I even attack Nissa here? I'm probably not winning the fairway, and I think I actually just want all my tokens back in case they time walk. Do I play this Mox here to generate... Do I play the Mox to generate 2 more tokens, giving up this? I think yes is the answer. I think having 4 more tokens is valuable here in case they start taking extra turns. Because remember, they drew a bunch of cards... that weren't permanent, so there's a good chance they have Time Walk in hand. I just want to have an army down. If they have something like Sweltering Suns here, we're just dead, so we're not playing around that. Okay, yep. Can't and Aldrin's Epiphany. Fucking Ramtix chat. Should we have gone face Lester? Can you explain why? Can you tell me what attacking their face does? Because I explained my logic. So if you want to tell me why I should have attacked them instead of playing around them taking extra turns, please explain. Because I had the decency to do that. So explain why you think I'm wrong. Dead to another Time Walk. Dead to another Nissa. Yep. I think attacking there is very wrong. For the reasons I explained. Feel free to check the replay if you'd like a full breakdown. Okay, so here's the person I just timed out for being fucking pedantic. I get that they said, should we attack the face? But I literally just explained why I was not attacking. And 2, the should we do this is a lazy way of Twitch chat asking me to say, no, your idea is wrong or bad and this is why. It's putting the onus on me to lecture you like this. And me lecturing you like this isn't fun or interesting. Instead, you should say, Jeff, this is the better line and this is why. And if you can't think of a reason why that's the better line, it probably isn't. And maybe you come up with the reason why it's a better line and we have this great discussion and we talk about it, but instead just like don't make me lecture you. Don't put the onus on me. Don't just be like, Jeff, why is this bad? Jeff, why is this bad? Instead, think about why it's good. The best way for you with the line you chose, you had 5 more flyers back and 6 on the ground, so 5 more doesn't help because it put them to 15, which means they could be dead next turn. No, it doesn't, PK Jeff. So again, if you listen to the words that I actually said, I talked about how me choosing not to attack was me electing to play around Nissa plus Time Walks, which is actually exactly what they had. They also had an Anger of the Gods, which meant that I died regardless of the line that I took, but my line chose to play around them attacking with multiple things over multiple turns. And if they had Time Walks and Nissas like we assumed, because they explicitly drew a bunch of cards that weren't permanents off of the Genesis Ultimatum. So yeah, so again, not attacking there is correct. because it makes Nissa plus Time Walks not be able to pressure our life total appropriately. And we had so many things in play with PO in hand that if we get another turn, we doesn't matter how much life they're at because we're going to go big over the top of them. So if we're going to go big, if we get another turn, there's no reason to take a chip shot and expose ourselves to double Time Walk, extra Nissa, attack you a bunch and pressure you into a bad location. So like, they're out there is anger for one, but we can't beat anger, so we shouldn't play around it. But what we could play around is them taking extra turns, which is what I took the time to explain. All right. Anywho, if I'm being honest, I expected this deck to be a complete and total flaming dumpster fire. I was pleasantly surprised. It felt like what we were doing here felt pretty reasonable overall. The big takeaway in my head is that Saheeli and Sai are just so good at buying us time. Like, they block so well with all of our cheap things, allowing them to flood the board. Sai having a 4-power booty was great in multiple spots. Seagate Restoration felt good. 4's probably too many. 3 or maybe even 2. I think I want a couple more, one more land in here at least. I could see going down to 2 and getting up to 12 basics. I think I like so this is 16, 19, like 23 lands. Mox Amber is kind of a land. Yeah. The sideboard plan, I don't really know if the sideboard plans are good or not. The counter spells are good. The one thing that would be on my mind is I would want to figure out if Karn and Ugin, like, if this plan is good enough against, like, the Luris and the Fair decks, like the control decks and the mid-range decks in the format, or is this just too cute? I feel like this is probably a pretty good plan. Like, this card being able to make the -2 on here, making construct tokens that are pretty big, can close games out with both of these. I don't think having access to Faceless Haven would win us most games that we're losing, and I think the scry on this was genuinely valuable in a number of key spots. Like, this card is another part of why we're able to play such a pretty low land count and still hit what we're doing consistently. We are also a combo deck at our core, so this is providing some meaningful card selection in some of the games that we're playing. So, yeah. All right, at any rate, that's going to wrap on Magic for me for the afternoon. We're going to have a chill last half of the stream. We're going to play some Ratchet and Clank on the PS5. Finishing today, maybe. If you're just here for Magic stuff, I hope you'll stop by for the Hooglandia tournament, or maybe play in it this weekend on Sunday. Check it out there on MTG Melee. I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Magic the Gathering. We're going to be doing Historic all day tomorrow. Beansy in chat bought out the stream for tomorrow. So tomorrow, we're going to be playing, we're going to kick the tires on some Mutate. Some Mutate here, some Naya Mutate, and what else do we got? We're going to play some Jeskai Blood Sun tomorrow. And then I forget, what was the third deck Beansy had? We have Mutate, Jeskai Blood Sun, and then, Grixis Control. We're going to play Grixis Valky. Yeah, all right, so sweet. We're going to have a lot of sweet historic decks tomorrow. For the rest of the day, though, we're going to play some PlayStation.